Hey everyone, today I'm going to start with a new series on software design pattern in test automation, and we are going to discuss about builder design pattern in detail with the help of real life example in test automation context. So before going there, let us discuss about the design pattern. What are design patterns? So while designing a software or a automation framework, there is some known problems which everyone might face, right? And then for those known problems, because these are faced by a lot of people, there are some predefined solutions which have been developed or designed. So these predefined solutions are the concepts basically. Not everyone will be using it in the same way, but the concept will remain the same, right? So these concepts are known as the design patterns. And mainly there are four type of design patterns. Creational design pattern, which deals with the creation of an object in a class. This builder design pattern is a part of creational design pattern only, and here we'll see how we can separate the construction of a object from its representation. Now when we are talking about construction of a object, so wherever the construction is happening, that construction process shall enable different type of representations of object. Like some object might have two attributes, some might have only three attributes. So we'll see this with the example of a live demo as well. Then we have a structural pattern. So basically it deals with how the structure of your class will look like. Then we have behavioral patterns, which deals with how different classes are going to interact with each other. Then we have concurrency pattern. This basically deals with the multi-threaded paradigm within your automation framework or your software design process, right? So let me start with the demo and the prerequisite of the demo. So the prerequisite is that I'm working with JSON server because this is a local server on which we can perform some basic CRUD operation. For this you need to have node installed, and once the node has been installed, then you can follow this npm install JSON server. It will install the JSON server on your machine, and then you can create a db.json file in your user directory. It will look something like this. You can have different arrays defined within it, and each array will act like a endpoint. So here I have post, comment, and profile. So three arrays are defined here, and each array you can define different elements within each array, right? And once you will be done creating this file, just execute this json server db.json command, and once this is done, your localhost API server will be up and running on this 3000 port. And as I mentioned, like I had three arrays defined, so that's why I have three endpoints here. And if I open it, it will look something like this. Like I have opened the post one, and in my JSON I have this thing present, right? So that's why I'm able to see this information. So you can perform all the CRUD operation on this, right? Now for the demo purpose, what I have used, I'm using Restassured with testng and the Gradle. And this is the testng dependency. Then I have used Restassured, AssertJ for basic assertion, Jackson for serialization, deserialization, and in the end we'll see the Lombok implementation for builder design pattern. Then here we have, this is our test stage which contains the testng file, and then these are the basic directory for storing testng report and the Gradle report. And if I go to the location of testng.xml, this is our test class. So I have created a basic test package here, and it contains our test class, and it has different test method in it. So each test method is doing the same thing. Like we are hitting the post operation for creation of a post. Like here on this particular endpoint, we are creating a post, right? And each method, like each test method, is calling the different ways of implementing our builder pattern, right? So for that, what I have done in our main class here, I have shown various ways of creating the builder design pattern. First, we'll start with when we are not following any builder design pattern, and then what are the problems that we are having. Then we have a basic builder class. Then we have inner static inner classes for implementing the builder, and in the end, we'll see the Lombok way of doing the same thing. So first, let us see when there is no builder pattern. So in this case, like we have four attributes defined here. If you see, we have ID, title, author, and platform. So I have defined these four properties attribute here on the post class, right? And then I have created a basic constructor, parameterized constructor for each of these four types, and some basic getter. This getter is required for by the Jackson library, right? So that our object can be converted into JSON body while sending the post call. So this is basic like rest assured concept. Like let me show you the basic test method first. So this is our request specification attribute. This is response sorry, request specification reference, and this is our response reference. Both of these are defined as the um, static attributes here. And then we have static block to initialize request specification. Restassured.given, the base URL is localhost 3000, and the content type is going to be content type.json. Once this is done, like this is our, when we are going to use a body, our body request body will look something like this. It will have these four attributes. This is one single request body. So, and we have created this pojo here, the basic pojo, right? And it has four attribute, and those attribute we are passing in our post constructor. And once this is done, you just need to pass this in your body, like in your request specification dot body and this post. So here Jackson library is coming into the picture, and if these getters will not be there in your post class, your deserialization will fail. Once your JSON is ready, you can just hit the post call, and the post call will be sent using this request body. And let me show you this one in action first. In my after test method, what I am doing, I am uh, publishing on console what is the entity that we have created using get call, right? Here I am publishing that thing, the complete response. And once this is done, I am deleting the attribute, that the entity that we are creating as well, with the help of a delete call, right? So in the end, our get endpoint will have the same set of data. So uh, once the post was created, this was our new entity that was created, right? And once we are done hitting it, we will be able to see that it has the same set of data again, right? Now coming to the design pattern part here. So the problem will, what will be the problem that we will face? So some entities might have only say three attributes located to assigned to them, right? It might happen that a single post has not defined any platform for this, only have title and author. In that case, the problem that we are going to face will be that we will need to create a new constructor with only those three type of attributes defined, right? And then we can have two and one as well. So on basis of how many parameters a object is having, we will be we will be required to create different type of constructors for them. And then we are also restricted on the basis of the ordering of these constructor, right? We cannot send author on the second place, platform on the third place. So we are restricted in this way as well. So if you see here, more number of parameters, more constructor to manage, right? So this was the problem that we were facing in our basic Pojo class. And then when I talk about the basic builder class, it will look something like this. Now, instead of creating the constructor, here we will be creating the setter method, right? And each of our setter method will be returning the instance of our builder class. Here, this is our post builder class, the same attributes we have taken here. Now, the first thing is we are setting the setters. So why we are doing it, why we are setting it, let me show you. We are doing it once our setter method is done. It is again returning the instance of our builder class, then which that particular instance can again call the another setter method, right? So for achieving this thing, we are returning the return type of our builder class with each of our setter method. First thing is this. Then for getting the instance of the builder class, we have a static method defined here, which will return the instance of the post builder class, right? And you can also create a private constructor here so that there is no other way of creating the instance of this particular class. Let me do it here. Private post builder, right? So now this will be the only way of creating it. And in the end we are doing build. Why we are doing it? Because here at this level we are just setting the properties of our builder class only, like post builder class. But in the end we need to call our constructor of post class, the main class for which we have created this builder class, with the attributes that we have set till now, right? So that's why we are creating this build method in the end, which will return the instance of post class, and it will call the constructor of this particular class. So in this class you still need a constructor defined in the same way. It will have all the four attributes, but now the value of these four attributes, well, when we are setting these values, these are being controlled by our builder class, right? Let me go to the basic builder, set author. So you do not need to, now you do not need to care about the ordering of your parameters or defining all the parameters. So you have single representation here, right? And you are not defining any constructor on basis of how many parameters that you need to set. Those will be taken care by your builder class. So if we go again, we have this builder class here, four attributes which are in our main class, then a private constructor so that this class can be initialized only by a static get post builder method. Then we have setter for each of the attributes and which are returning the instance of our builder class, and in the end the build method to call the constructor of our main class with all the attributes which have been set till now, right? Simple. So let me go here. I'll do the same thing. So here we have initialized our post with all the attributes that we want to set, and then the same thing, we are hitting the post endpoint. And if we go here, this is the entity that was created, right? And for getting the random string, I am just using random string utils dot random with the number of random characters that I want to generate, right? Now the third way of doing this is like we have done this post builder, right? And we have also, like, if you see here, the benefit is, first, we are able to, like, we are not dependent on any constructor here. Like in constructor we had that limited um, way of assigning the attribute to the object. In case we need to assign the attribute, we need to take care of the ordering, then we also need to take care of how many attributes that we are sending, right? And it is also providing more readability in our test layer using setter methods. Then the other way of doing this is with the help of inner class. So this is exactly the same way, but we are creating just one class here. Let me show you how. So this is our post class. I have created a post class here. Let me go on the top, right? We do not need to create separate class here, because in our first way of doing it, we were having one separate builder class and separate class for which our builder class is working. But in this way of doing the things, we are having the builder as a static inner class of the same class for which we want to build the object, right? So in the same way, four attributes are there. We have a constructor defined. Now we can have this constructor as private constructor, because the builder class is going to be an inner class of this class only, right? Then we have getters defined, the same concept for initialization. Then we have post builder. Now this get builder method which we were defining here, right? Get post builder. Now we need to define it here, like as a method here, get builder within our main class. And then we have this our static inner class. Like this method will return the instance of our builder class, and this is our builder class in form of a static inner class. All the attributes which were defined in our builder class we have defined here. Setter returning the the instance of our builder class. And then in the end we have build method, which will again be calling our main class, the outer class, with all the attributes which have been set. So now let me show you the way test is working using these methods. So for this, let me go to the test. So exactly the same thing, right? Just change the name of classes here, and we will be able to achieve the same thing here, but with the help of a single class only. So here we were creating multiple classes. Our main class was still this no builder class post, but here we have created a different class itself, and the builder is being created as a static inner class within the same class. And this is how it will look, exactly the same thing. Now in the end, let us talk about Lombok. So in Lombok, you are like readability is increasing of your main class. You are defining a builder within this. The code is quite simple. You do not need to write anything extra than the attributes that you are defining, and these annotations that you are defining here will take care of everything, right? Now before going into the more details, the dependencies that you need is, in case you are working with IntelliJ, it is quite straightforward. Just include these dependencies here, right? These are the Lombok dependencies. And I see some error. Okay, nothing. There was one extra character added here. So apart from this, like if we have seen our build.cradle, those were the dependencies. And in case you are working on IntelliJ, you just need to go to setting, and here just mention annotation. In compiler, you will see this annotation processor. You can enable the annotation processing from here. So this is quite straightforward in IntelliJ. In Eclipse, you need to download a plugin. Okay, now what we are doing here, let me go to my inner class. This is exactly the same thing. With the help of annotations, we are making it simpler. So what we had in our main class for which we wanted to create the builder, we had attributes defined, which we have defined here in Lombok, right? The same thing. Apart from that, this constructor and this constructor was created for our builder pattern because our builder was calling this, and then it had four getters for our Jackson library, right? So here we just need to define at the rate of builder and at the rate of getter for get method, and all the builder concept that we have discussed till now, that will be taken care by this at the rate builder method, right? And if we go to the class, this is the way we are doing it. Post dot builder, the same thing. It will return the instance of the builder class, and then the attribute name is the setters here, and in the end when we will call the build, it is like the way we have seen earlier. The constructor of our main class will be called. And if you want to see what is happening in the background, let me quickly show you that as well. I'll go to the Lombok, and when you go to refactor d Lombok, and this is the which type of annotation you want to d Lombok, let me select builder here. So now if we see, it is exactly the same thing. We have at like a constructor defined here. These are the, like this is the our like get builder method that we used earlier. Now this is our static inner class. It has four attribute. We have a, like we made it private, right? This is the constructor of our static inner class. Then we have, these are the setter method which are returning the instance of builder class, and in the end we have build method which is returning the, which is calling the constructor of our main class with the attribute that we have set. So this is exactly the same implementation that we had in our inner class. This is just the toString method that they have included as well. Now let me Lombok it again, and the annotation is back here, and we will just try to execute our case. And it's done. So we have the exactly the same results here as well. So that's how we have like come to this version of builder pattern, like where we just included only the attributes part, and the remaining parts were taken care by the annotations that are provided by Lombok. So that's it for today's video, and I will share the link to the source code of this particular demo in the comment section of the video. And in case you're liking the content I'm making, please do like, subscribe, and share it with your QA friends. Thank you.